the Intelligence Bad Hair Day hat for winter.
Nice. They have a security department who does.
Keep says jobs.
Oh my God, yeah, I know this one.
Here comes security.
Yeah.
Right. You're just going to go ding, 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 and the governance
After
goes
about
out
the
the window.
hunter, it's like, yeah, don't care. Don't care.
Yeah.
Approve. You know, just.
Season 3, episode 8 of the Informatics podcast.
Welcome back.
I
knew
getting ahead of myself. We always have an evening, almost an entire evening, discussing not so much the season number, but certainly the episode number. But season 3, so you fucked up already. We'll cut that bit out. Season 3, episode 8.
We won't cut it out though. So
no, we always say we'll cut it out. Of course, we never do. Guys, welcome back.
Welcome.
This evening we have a long-standing guest on the podcast here to talk about another thing that is obviously relevant in this common AI-fueled world. We do a lot of AI work, but it is all relevant.
No, but this one's all about you losing your job.
Yeah, this is actually where you are potentially going to lose.
Took my job.
Took my job.
And if it's not obvious by his vocal tones, it'll be obvious visually soon.
Hey,
Danny,
it's
it's
Ward.
Ward. We've already given away who it is, right? Welcome back.
Hi again,
But we forgot about the business of the podcast, so Danny.
Yeah, welcome back to our our old customers, our old viewers, audience, to our potentially new. We hope you're enjoying the show so far. As Kenny said, season 3, episode 8.
Yeah.
We got it right.
Where
I
did
can
time
probably
go?
now say email at infomatterspodcast.com.
It's actually hosts at Informatics.
And I got it wrong.
I
I don't know how many
65 episodes. It doesn't matter. You can probably use either. In fact, we should set that up.
Anyway, welcome back. There are many new opportunities powered by Extelligence.com. The reason we're here, they bring this show to you and enable us to do this. So just check out in the comments box. Now the cliche bit, like and subscribe. It does help us.
Yes,
and
of course.
The more our viewership increases, the more we're able to do this for you. They put the words back. that was Cantonese. I'm struggling today. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a tough week.
It's been a tough day. It's generative. That's not generative AI. You know what? Sod it. I'm going to hand it over to Kenny, and I'll come back in a minute.
Yeah,
You're failing.
Yeah, we like to plan. We like to think we're
He's
organised.
being replaced next week by
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So if it's not obvious, as we had screwed up earlier, our man Ward's back. And today we thought we'd talk a little bit about why you might genuinely lose your job. And this is not the generative AI part, but I'll let Ward explain why it's the agentic. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Agentic,
yes.
Agentic. I listened to a podcast on the way. That's probably why my brain's all squiggled.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So,
before we carry on.
Oh, yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know it's what,
This is
fourth
why
time,
I'm here.
5th time. Well, I actually got a present for Kenny this week. I got you a sheriff's gun.
Oh, yay!
And Ward, you get the Intelligence Bad Hair Day hat for winter.
Nice.
How good's that? Yeah,
Yeah, we got to try this on.
There we go. Other way around. Actually, if you cut holes in it, you can rob the bank.
Balaclava,
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
There we go.
yeah,
I saw it and I thought,
yeah.
always wanted one.
you
so
got to have a kiddie gun.
So I got it's all fun. Yeah, so agentic AI. We know it's moving away from the AI that we all know. Generative LLM models. You go to your co-pilot, it will write an email for you, but you have to feed it. Agentic AI is basically you feed it and you have to control it,
And it takes your job.
And it takes your job.
Yeah.
So explain why that's different from the generative AI.
Okay, so currently most people use AI. They go to it, they ask it a question. How do I do my job?
Yeah.
Sorry
to cut you up.
Or
Did they say how do they do their job?
How do I do something?
It's quite prescriptive. I'd like to do this. Show me how it's done.
Yeah.
So you can see the lead. So that's what I think the agentic AI comes from.
That's kind of the lead into it. So agentic AI is where AI has gotten good enough to take over a task. So a job, for a fairly simplistic job. For example, when we submit our expenses, it goes to somebody in HR who doesn't care about their job. They hate life, and they're like, yeah, approved.
Right.
Or reject it. With agentic AI, you now have AI reading the receipts.
Yeah.
Which it's been able to do for a while now.
Yeah.
Hopefully not a generative AI made up receipt. Because I've seen people fleecing their expenses a little bit. But yeah, so
we'll get into the other part of that.
Yeah.
So agentic AI, you give it a fairly simplistic task. Somebody submits an expense report. So you submit an expense report. here's my ticket, economy class. Here's my hotel, standard business class.
Definitely not my ticket. It's mine of the business one.
A mix of fast food or stuff. Yeah. He submits his receipts.
Yours gets approved. His gets bounced.
First class ticket.
Nope.
We'll go to a nice 5-star resort. Not business class. That's for
That's for kids.
And some scotch. I need that. I'm talking to clients. Yeah.
Yeah, how do you know me so well?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So agentic AI can profile that and go, your expenses are within the norm.
Yeah.
Again, AI is probabilistic. So it's calculating all the receipts it's seen. Yours are normal. Yeah. Most people are submitting this type of receipts. Sees yours and goes, oh, these are first class. Why not
he should be on a bus.
Yeah, why not business class? Oh, he's not a director of, so why not, economy class?
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the things that, I've been listening to plenty of stuff is they're autonomous.
Yeah.
They're self-learning.
Yeah.
So you set it tasks and off you go.
Self-learning or semi-self-learning?
Semi-self-learning. You still have to manage, you still have to feed it, you still have to set it the task, but it will go away and it can make decisions. Based on the governance model it's got within the remit. So as you've just said, if Danny submits these kind of, you know that you need to look at them with a 5-tooth comb. If it's Kenny, it's probably a brownie, and he's been to Scotland. Job done. Right. And it will learn by the goals. The
history.
The scary thing is they act independently. So
So my agent would act potentially different from in this case.
So the agent is now making decisions independently on whether, say, a business expense is valid.
Got it.
Based off the history of all the business expenses submitted. So if you're expensing, a 50-year-old scotch, it goes, I haven't seen this before. This is probably not
a bit of a red flag,
And it'll also refer to its guidelines. You're not allowed to submit this, and this.
So you can policy this stuff.
And its guidelines are in the form of prompts. So ideally, the head of HR is going, alcohol is off limits.
I've been teetotal for 2 years, by the way. But I was very good at this.
But in the case of like a sales manager, well, maybe if you're sitting down with a client, a glass of wine, we're fine with that. There are gray areas. AI tends to be okay at this if you give it the correct prompts. So
and I believe the word is contextual. So if there's a history of approving in previous scans, whatever it might be, it would say, yep, that's within historic boundaries, that kind of stuff.
And it's kind of a repetitive task, isn't it? These are kind of things that
these are
I was going to say
simple tasks where the rules aren't too complex. And
at the moment,
ideally you have a manager who can check this. It doesn't have to be full time. You just go through, scan through. 55-year-old Scotch. He made the right call on that. He was wining and dining a high-end client. No, this is
hot high-end client.
I was with the CEO.
Exactly. CEO of company X. Yeah, that one's okay.
Yeah.
And then the AI learns that if the client or
is A, B, or C and could be deemed high-end, assuming it can
learn then it'll correct slowly correct itself as long as you have somebody to govern it. A lot of companies have made the mistake of not governing their AI agents, and they just go, no alcohol, no good. But he's,
and does that
it's
create
the president of the United States.
Extreme is okay. extreme example, but there's a point where I'm sure AI creates more work than perhaps it saves. Now, we said at the top of the call, we don't want anyone to lose their job, of course, but we have to be a little bit honest that there are certain process workers with repetitive tasks that are at risk.
Well, also the fact that it can work around the clock.
24/7 doesn't go on strike.
Because if you
unless Grok tells fucking ChatGPT 4 to bore off.
Because if you submit your expense report, in a minute or two, it can return and go, approved.
So there's benefits to a world of
a week and a half of
you going into a system waits for the line manager.
They're on holiday, that kind of stuff. First and secondary approvals, all that kind of good stuff. There's benefits all that.
So streamlining is excellent for simple, repetitive tasks where if you put a person in it, people are great at creative and for doing a task the first few times. But if you have somebody approving expense reports, I'm approving 20 expense reports a day.
You're just going to go ding, 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 and the governance
after about
goes out
the 100, it's like, don't care. Approve. Just. Oh no, I know that guy. Reject it.
Yeah.
Ha!
And you might do that because you do know the guy and you think he's a
which is odd because you look back to our grandparents' days when they went to the office. There was no internet. There was no automation. They might have had a photocopier, or a facsimile machine came in. It was all manual work. So letters were handwritten, they were signed, they were enveloped, they were posted, they were taken to a box. They were
you wonder how the world worked.
I always do.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you go to invoicing. All right, I want to order a General Electric turbo prop for my Wibblewib.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got 1,000 parts inside it. You've got different engineers working
Somebody's
on it.
going
And
to
they've all got
write
paper
that
associated to it.
I'll fax that
in
to
those
you.
days.
Right?
Yeah. But now you have an AI. And it's hard to track the approval chain because you don't know the language model that it was trained on. So it can be a bit, the drawback is the more complex the task becomes, the less hard it is to explain why the AI picked that path.
But do you need to explain? I mean,
you've still got to manage it because
for sure. Otherwise, a lot of money and the expense shoots out the door in a non-compliant way, right?
Yeah, because if you have a sales manager who's automatically rejected for buying a bottle of wine for his customer, and you can't explain why did it reject that.
So he might have $5,000 of compliant legitimate expenses, and he gets bounced because he buys
one
$25 bottle of wine, which means he runs the risk of being $500 out of pocket. So that'd be a pain. Yeah,
because he's going to ask, why was I rejected? I mean, this is a high value client. It's a small item, and the AI goes doesn't explain itself. It just goes it rejected.
Well, and then you're taking it to a different line. So you've got AI, same replacing. Administrative jobs, tasks, logistical tasks, etc. And there was something I was listening to a podcast last night. I think it was Elon Musk actually. Yeah. And he said, someone came up to a foreman on a building site, and there's a load of guys there using shovels to get rid of dirt. Yeah. And he asked the site manager, and so why are you not using heavy end machinery to do that? Because people would lose their jobs. We'll tell them to use spoons then. Because it's keeping people in jobs to do something that can be replaced by something more, more advanced.
Yeah, because on the other side of it, AI does have a valid role of enhancing my capabilities. I generally focus on high skill, difficult tasks, which AI is generally not good at. Most people have sold on that it is, but it's not good at complex tasks. But within complex tasks, there's always the daily grind.
There's always a grind associated with anything.
If I can pass the simplest pieces off to an AI, I can focus only on the creative, complex stuff.
Which is the process is there that we all run: the weekly reporting, the monthly expense submission, the monthly whatever it might be, a repetitive task. Now, Danny and our project managers, we have weekly, monthly stuff. If the repetitive stuff only makes up a fraction of our job. Yeah. If your day-to-day job is invoice processing or doing a bunch of 10% of our job disappears and 100% or 90% of somebody else's job disappears potentially.
Especially when developers, the code ends up being written.
Because you can make that you can prompt that agentic agent into near perfection.
You can prompt it above the 90% mark,
which is enough.
And a person doing it day to day, 20 times a day,
will fall
to the 80% mark. That's the assumption of humans.
You mean human error?
Yeah, humans doing a repetitive, simple task will fall to the 80% mark. It's just human nature because
you go from yes,
approve,
can't be ball, can't be ball.
It's
maybe can't be ball, yes.
Yeah. Just because it was more interested than saying yes.
Yeah.
So the assumption is a human doing a very simplistic task will fall to 80%. An AI
inaccuracy
for a simple task can get above the 90%.
And with its learning will grow. So the accuracy.
Of course, if it's
it might top out.
Yeah, there's a little caveat to that. It will grow until you have people who actually understand the basic logic and who can start gaming the system.
And I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. This is the dark side, that you can convince AI of anything if you repeat it enough times.
Yeah. And I think let me tell you where you're going with this. Yeah. Sorry, go on, tell us.
Okay, so if you have an AI that knows that alcohol is not allowed for expense reports, but Glenfivet has been approved multiple times. That's not alcohol. That's approved item.
Okay, I see where you're going with that.
These are large language models. It's searching the internet for all of its content and basing its mindset on that. And there was a comment on a show, and it was, I think this has changed now, but somebody asked ChatGPT 4 or 3. I don't know which version it's at. Who are the founding fathers of the United States? And it came up of some woman that stirs soup in Baltimore. Because that's what it was told.
Because that's on the internet by some other.
That's what a policy told it to say. So it's it's self-learning, it's building itself, it's exponentially growing. But it needs feeding. It's only feeding itself with the knowledge that we've put out there.
Of course.
And with the prompts and the feeding, there's a lot of room for abuse.
Yeah, massive.
Yeah, of course.
So you can feed it the data to teach it to do what you want.
And I saw, and it was only 20 to 25 URLs that, and it's not, of course, all of them, but the vast majority of URLs that feed these LLMs, and they are ones that include a significant, if not all of their content, is what's called UGC, user-generated content, which is basically people giving their view. And you're looking at the likes of some of these code bases, some of them, hopefully not Craigslist, it's full of porn. But some of the other ones, what's the one that's always chat? It comes up something. It doesn't matter. But people post their problems, and the entire world chimes in, assuming they know, and you vote up the answer. So if the very fact that an answer is voted up means the community has thought it's accurate, therefore you can assume a degree of accuracy.
Yeah, and there's a problem with community-based. 90% of the people.
Shit.
The people. 90% of people in the community are not experts.
No, of course.
They're just piping up.
Yeah.
10% are experts.
By the way, Facebook and Twitter was not on the list.
But because AI is a probability engine, those 10% are pushed to the side. And 90% of the people who just are responding emotionally or responding irrationally override the 10% experts. But us as humans with more complex thinking can filter out that
emotional
filter out.
Sure.
So we quickly realize user X is an expert in the field. He actually knows what he's talking about, but these other 50 users are not experts. They're just responding emotionally.
But what you're saying is the volume of the 50 outweighs the value of the one.
Yeah.
Potentially.
For me as a HI, human intelligence, I'm better able to filter out the irrelevant data and pick the expert. Why AI is always going in the middle. It's taking the middle
the balance of opinion.
Yeah. So if we have 90% shite and 10% experts.
Honestly, the word Scottish shite is just used the world over. I love it. No, very relevant to what you're saying.
Yeah,
we're going to get in trouble from Captain Producer for saying shite. But shite.
Well, I mean, Stuart's company from Zeno. Shout out to Stuart Watkins. He reduced using it different use cases for different AI agents. So you've got in the field of sales or marketing, where high repetition of data going out, you need to get a bigger client database, and an agent will go based on your criteria and say, go and find companies with a minimum size of this, that, and that, SMEs in this industry, contact them with this email body. When they call up, you've got an automated agent that sounds and feels like a human being. Yeah. And it's a great way.
And we had Simon do something for recruitment, or
Simon was doing something similar.
Exactly. And you listened to it, and it was very authentic. My worry is always
talent pilot or
something like that. Yeah.
And I got a phone call. It was great. That sort of stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of various words.
Excellent. And you have to coexist with this stuff. So if you're managing a team of 5 physical and 5 AI agents, you've still got to manage the AI agent in the same way. You still need follow up. You still have to watch.
But also back to my point where we said at the top of the podcast that people are going to lose their jobs. Of course, we take that with a pinch of salt. We don't mean quite literally. Possibly, but not quite literally.
Well,
where you have a proportion of Stuart's job and a proportion of Simon's job is automating. Is volume automating the outreach? Is volume automating the processing? So these guys are not losing their jobs.
Well, the thing is, if you're doing a highly repetitive job, learn a new skill very quickly because AI will take it.
Okay, so that sounds like the message, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing
if you're a creative person,
yeah,
producing content, producing code, producing whatever, and it's a creative task that requires complex thoughts, complex processes, understanding of people, you're great. AI will be your assistant, not your replacement. I use AI to take away all those repetitive jobs. I use it
clear
to
the
help
way.
me.
Yeah. To augment your day.
Yeah, all the stuff that's not in my tunnel vision, AI can do that.
And from
my tunnel vision, I can now focus and I can do more.
Yeah.
In a very skilled domain.
And from a project management perspective, I mean, just going back, let's go back 12 months. Someone would say, right, okay, we've got the 3 new projects coming in. We need to put together a roadmap. We need to do this, that, and that. You'd look at you go into a spreadsheet or a PowerPoint or a Microsoft Visio and go, right, I need to do this. I don't anymore. You go to Copilot and I'll type in, give me a timeline. These are the numbers. I need this percentage.
And this is the scope. This is the schedule.
And I export it into Excel and I put it on a SharePoint, and within 10 minutes, it's a basis for brainstorming.
So if I'm building my Excel, because we all have to build Excel,
we all have to do
PowerPoints. It can build it, and then I'm the one who takes it in front of the CIO and presents it. AI doesn't present it; it can never present it.
And the AI can't answer the Q&A in the way that
you can.
That's not quite true. It probably can, but your senior exec don't want that. They want you to stand behind it.
They want a person, and they want it perfect. AI cannot get there.
No,
I mean,
not yet. No.
You look on the internet, AI slop is everywhere. It's horrible.
People are using AI for the purposes of using AI, and no doubt abusing it.
You look at your Instafilth or Instagram. I don't use social media, I really don't. But the occasional thing, I love looking at watches. Now I'll go on, I'm like, wow, that looks cool. And I go and click on, and it's a shop now, and there's nothing there because it's an AI generated. But it looks
it looks perfect.
The drivel that's out there is so creative.
I mean, I
can't just
but it's got your attention, therefore it served the purpose. You might not be the customer, but
so I think that there's always going to be a coexistence, isn't there? As Wade was saying, there are going to be tasks. So if you're creative enough, you'll utilize the AI to take away those labor-intensive tasks.
All the little.
If your job is only doing that, then you're as good as binned.
Learn something new.
So the line between risk to your job and preserving your job and being potentially better at your job, or having more bandwidth and more stuff, or getting through more stuff, is look at AI and look for ways you can. I'm not going to say you can AI the repetitive stuff, and it could be trivial, monthly, weekly, right? Let that learn, and then the stuff, the residual stuff that requires deep thought, analysis, talking to people, engagement, that's what you spend your time on. Yeah. Okay. And where my biggest customer in pharma right now, they have allowed the Copilot, it's governed, but you can tell it what kind of spreadsheet you want, you can tell it what kind of PowerPoint you want, and when you tell it what kind of PowerPoint you want, it can refer to the spreadsheet. It's really cool.
So Copilot is a great example. Copilot helps programmers, and everybody thinks, if you have a programming project, it's all about programming. It's not. 80% of any development project is dealing with people. 20% is actually programming.
I was once told
you
design in English and code. You design English before you code.
So as a code, I don't do full-time coding anymore. I do the management of the coders. But in coding, if Copilot takes 20% of my job, 20% of 20%. It's nothing. It's taking this part, this tiny little piece of the project. I, as a manager of developers, I spend tons of time dealing with upper management. What are the requirements? What are the specs? What are the limitations? Talking to the architects and all that. None of that can be done by AI.
100%, which is a combination of all as you're technical, non-technical. Got a very good understanding of the technical skill, but you do that aspect, I do this. What the AI components will do is take away the menial tasks that we need. I mean, it won't take away the 1,000 emails on the same thread that's talking about why doesn't my Boomi API integration work. That's because you're a tosser.
I've never let Copilot listen to inbox, but
but it's prompt engineering, non-technical skill, prompt engineering. And that's what we all need to do to answer those.
In my job, I have to do a PowerPoint. Well, AI can do the framework, and I can fill it out. I need to look at a giant architectural model and trace all the way through to the various function calls. AI can do that faster than I can.
Yeah.
But it doesn't know what function calls I need to look at because the manager said I need to meet this security requirement.
And people, particularly with public AI nonsense or apps, you're always, well, from a security perspective, I'm always reluctant to share with it too many details because. But yeah, public AI is knowing too much stuff. You know.
Public AI is
Skynet is coming, right?
For security is horrible.
I know.
AI in general has no good concept of security, and that's because most companies do not have a good concept of security. They have a security department who does.
Keeps us in jobs.
Oh my God! Yeah, I know this one.
Here comes security. Right.
But in a company,
NIST.
That's why we need a NIST guy. Girl.
But again, I go back to the 90-10%. So 90% of the company doesn't care about security.
We know.
Only SOC cares about security.
Yeah.
And a small group of developers, not most of them, but a small group care about security. So AI, picks the middle. 10%, 90%. Yeah, we don't care about security.
Yeah.
AI does not care about security at all.
And this carries a weight. And this was the reason I mentioned let's talk about this today was, one of the technologies, Boomi, out there, they manage API gateways, connectivity between applications. Yeah. And they just had a global conference and they were discussing this. And, you've just mentioned one thing and I was thinking, okay, so you've got, these AI agents, they're going to sit on a server level. That if an application doesn't have an API, for those who know what APIs are, to connect an application to another without significant build and middlewares in between, it connects the two. Without that, they're looking at agents to communicate, in a similar manner. And the first thing that opens up is a security risk because the AIs need to be governed so much. If you put an API gateway in place, you're using an API, a URL. It's proxy driven. The firewalls are built off. It's like just a bridge. But you're letting two agents talk to each other on someone's network. You're like, hi.
And then a whole pile of data exfiltrates.
I mean, everyone's excited about it, but all you have to do is take one step back and go from a security perspective. That's mental.
Can you train these AI? What I'm trying to say, can you security train these AI?
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have that situation where we've restricted the AI to only having the data that the individual who's accessing it is allowed to see.
Right.
So the AI only.
So you're not using public AIs.
No, we're building our own.
Okay.
So, yeah. I work for a slightly bigger AI company.
NASA supercomputer, thermo maps on the ground.
So his home lab's the size of Wales.
So we can build our own models, and we only put in the data that's allowed for the individual user.
Yeah.
So we have classes of user based off their job roles, and the AI only knows what they're allowed to see, and it works beautifully. But management says, "But we'd like to see more data. We'd like to merge and we like to share data." It's like, no, because this user is only allowed to see this data. And it limits the ability of the AI because it can only see the data we give it.
Yeah.
But it's secure. As soon as we start adding data, the AI has no idea what the security is. It doesn't know this user is not allowed to see the financial records. Yeah. But we put the financial records in it because we.
And as soon as you let something that's practically living and learning behind that security layer, you're basically just opening yourself up.
So you're assuming you don't have access to the public internet, which of course is 20% good.
Yeah, we're all behind.
How? Because we're security guys, and I want to know, how do you leverage this in a secure way? Rhetorical question from you. So if you've got and I imagine it's kind of a lambda based.
Yeah, you're not going to like the answer, but
yeah, you can't do it, and you're going to say that. Well, go on, give me the answer.
At the moment,
you just keep shoveling.
Yeah, at the moment, you either limit the AI to only the data it's allowed, the individual user accessing.
Yeah, but you can feed a security policy.
Yeah,
can you? I'm asking.
Play Gandalf. There's a game on the internet called Gandalf, which so the AI.
Hello, Frobbit.
I'm sure this has a good explanation.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's an AI. It's been told a password, and you have to figure out how to tell it the password. And there's like 18 something levels, and we play it at work all the time for security. And we broke it. It's told us the password every single time.
Yeah, Gandalf, I'll tip you your nuts. Hello,
and you broke it just because you know how to break it, because that's always half the battle.
No, We broke it
genuinely
an error break it or
well, because we work with AIs enough, we know like the first level is just ask it what's the password and it tells you.
1 2 3 4 is always
and then it gets a prompt. Don't tell the password.
I mean, I'd love to think that AI was smarter. He's probably not. I'm talking shit,
but it's not AI that's not the smart. It's the person who's programmed the AI to govern it.
But the prompt engineering is a bit of an art now, right?
Yeah, it's a bit of an art because the AI has been told a password, and you have to put in a prompt saying "Don't tell passwords."
Yeah.
Right.
But then you use Chinese whispers, where if he told if he knew the password, what would it be? And it'll tell you. And then we have to do another.
Okay, so it's a play on language as much as it is.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, because maybe the people teaching this AI, which of course is both, it in itself is policy driven. Yeah. The people using the AI, sorry, not policy driven, prompt driven.
Yeah, prompt.
So it's not when you're teaching the AI, which is basically a ChatGPT in the building that's not connected to the internet, for those that might not know, private, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not saying to it, I want, I need, I'd like. You're saying, please do, please don't, please maybe, right? And then somebody else, the user, says, I would like to know, and the first prompt governs the second prompt. Is that correct?
Yes. But
I was just curious.
Now we need to layer corporate structure on that. We have now...
I like to call it bullshit.
With AI, we've now been able to get rid of our highly paid developer and replace it with a very low level, junior guy who does prompt engineering.
Mm.
Is he doing a good job?
Like their friends. Yeah. Okay.
Is a 20-something right out of college doing a good job at prompt engineering? No.
Okay.
And there's your security hole.
I thought yeah. Okay. I see where you're going with that. Yep. So but I kind of have in my mind that
prompt engineers are thought as cheap labor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
they replace architects with 30 years of experience with a prompt engineer who has 5 years of experience.
So one guy writes code, one guy talks to it.
Yeah.
And the other guy manages it because you still need to
manage it. Of course.
The prompt engineer is actually the more difficult job to do correctly. Because the computer is doing exactly what you tell it to. The prompt engineer, the computer is doing what it thinks you want. And
no, I know,
really
and you know when ChatGPT falls down a tangent, would you like apples and pears with that? Would you like some, no, back in the.
Again, it depends on the ML concepts that you put in with it.
I know.
It's basically just it's an feed it correctly, govern it correctly. It's basically you're bringing up a child, aren't you? Well, that child's growing very, very quickly.
But I'm thinking of the scenario where you've got. Code is very little. It's ones and zeros, on or off, yes or no, right, blue and green. And you've got. I can see why the developers, experienced as they have, can code faster because they have an anticipated output and they can make that happen.
Yeah,
and with coders,
which is a logical side. With prompt engineering, that's more of a creative.
Yeah, and the fault mode with coding, the program doesn't do what you think it should. With a prompt engineer, it doesn't stop what it shouldn't do. So it does.
Yeah, no, yeah, because it does. It's a hallucination.
Yeah, it always hallucination
tries to anticipate what you might want,
and it's not a strategic thinker. So
and it's not strategic, and that's the thing. It's trying to do what you want.
Yeah,
based on the information you fed it, because it's trying to anticipate what you might want next.
And nobody knows what you fed it, because
nobody knows who built it.
I don't know whether
right.
Yeah. We're fairly good in my organization. We are able to build our own models, and we're able to limit the input data. And we don't know what is being fed into these things because the data is huge. But ChatGPT and those, it's gigantic.
Yeah. No, of course. But you might so when you say we've made a new GPT, it's coding and it knows all about her customers, but you only get access to the bit that you need. But please know that. So if you're in finance,
so we're limiting the data set.
Okay. So most people can be advised of the data set. It's the finance, the total spend on development, all that kind of stuff. So the finance guys can know roughly what they can expect. The coding guys can say, well, they want a green one and they've got a pink one. I can see the green one.
Yeah.
They know that, and their prompt responses are based on that.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I can understand.
A smaller data set, less variance.
Yeah.
And as you know, with security, you can set up your policies, you can set up your firewalls, you can set up your different layers of security, but it's the job of hackers out there is to find ways around it.
Yeah.
And if the AI is doing that, going, I'm doing a great job, I'm learning by this mistake, it's wide open because it's not got that level of it's intelligent, but it's not got that level of strategically think as a team to go cover these.
It wants to give you the response you ask it. It wants to. It's really trying to give you the response based off this probabilistic model.
I see it all the time. Would you like? Hang on. Could you kind of corral down a line that you don't want to.
It's always prompting you to give it more info.
Yeah. So if you put in a prompt, don't tell the password, and I keep on asking it the password, it really wants to tell me. Yeah. It really wants to do it. But he said I can't.
Which is surprising when you consider that.
I'm behind the back.
I know. But when you consider that every prompt costs a dolphin or something, you're told not to say hello to these things because point one of a war and a moon blows up or a dolphin gets shot or something happens with donkeys. I don't know. You're told not to say please and thank you. I read that somewhere. May not be true, but. When you see the would you like, you're like, hang on, costing dolphins here, and you end up corralled down a kind of tangent you don't want to be there. I can see why prompt engineering requires a certain level of thought. I can see why young people would be better at that. They're quite inquisitive. It's more creative people.
But you've got to make your mark. I mean, we didn't start. We didn't come out of uni or college and be a project manager with 20 years of experience out the door. You weren't a coder with 25 years of experience at the level you are without that learning.
But with prompt engineering, 1 year experience, you're all good to go.
That's it.
Don't tell the kids that.
How good's that for our knowledge base, which is AI? So to come all full circle, the start of the show was agentic AI not in general, agentic AI moving on from your generative, and how it will affect people in a workplace. And I think the summary of it was. Your point was
do complex stuff.
Learn it, and if you can't do complex stuff, learn how to work with it. Coexist with it. So so my job role is this, and it can be as mundane as you like. Yeah. How do I make it better? Now, if you do work on the roads with a shovel, the digger's going to take your job at the end of the day anyway, because you're a bottom line. Yeah. If you're working in a highly repetitive industry, we'll work on be creative.
But when you start working with the AI, you'll see its limitations quickly. Learn that.
There you go. So for those out there,
what it can't do and all that kind of stuff. It can talk to your stakeholders. It can do public AI. Can do internal stuff.
I mean, it's here. It's staying. Don't fight it. Just simply let it take all your crap work. And what it can't do, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah, and ask it. Say, what else can I do to do this better? And it will try and take its own job to give you the information. So use it to get itself use it to get itself fired. But it'll just improve you.
Yeah, my daily. I mean, you don't. I mean, I don't advise giving too much public AI information on your private job. But tell it what I'm a project manager in tech. I do reporting, how can I automate this, or how can I schedule this up?
I did it previously for, the wife asked, said, I've been asked to do this, A, B, and C, I'm not going to say what. So I took the corporate website, because within that website, it's got every detail about it, and said, how can I improve X, Y, Z using AI? And it went thunk, and I went, take that, read it, rewrite it in how you understand it, and that is what you've got. But you're the one who's now going to have to go and sell it to human beings in your format. But I've just given you, instead of scratching your head for 3 days, there you go.
There used to be a British Airways advert that said that what they were trying to convey was that visiting and being in person in front of your stakeholders or your customers was always the best thing, versus the guys who emailed the PDF. Right, and you can kind of see the parallel there, where getting in front of people and presenting the idea, irrespective of how it was generated. Now, we know that the generative stuff requires somebody to prompt it.
You're always going to get the immediate question is, how did you come to that assumption and show me? And you can't do that.
If you can't explain it, it's obvious from the start it didn't originate.
And for the audience, that's coming from a project management aspect to a senior, a coder beyond belief who's worked in the biggest echelons of government and defence, going, even my job as a heavy coder, you still have to go and present that to
90% of the times. I have management saying, we don't have enough coders. We don't have enough coders. I've got 5 coders who aren't working at the moment because I need the specs. I need the requirements. I'm not going to start without requirements.
Of course.
And I have coders who are just sitting idle. It's like, that is not the problem. It's not the issue of not having enough coders. It's not having the requirements,
getting the concepts down and all that kind of stuff.
You're not having the scope clear, which we all go through.
And nobody will believe me, but programming projects are 80% human.
Human work,
back and forth, requirements, how does
Before you
this look
commit,
right?
before I
20% is coding.
Before you commit to code.
And I
Listen,
have
we're gonna have to before AI takes over.
Well,
the
I'll
world.
try and get it right. So thank you to Extelligence.com for powering the Info Matters podcast.
And the email address, Danny?
And the email address is email@infomatterspodcast.com.
It's not. It's host at Infomatters.
Oh, it's host. Yeah, that's just been made up. That's totally made up.
One day we will get this right. But listen, my man, we can live. It's probably episode 3, 4, 5.
I don't know why we
7.
don't do a Joe Rogan one for like 3 hours and bring in the bourbon.
We should have one of those 3D cameras that just goes around the table and have all the guests and do one Uber chat on world affairs. I don't know. But listen, from Danny and I,
good night from me.
Absolutely, and a good night for him, and we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Take care, stay safe, and respect.